Marcus Chen had driven 15,000 rideshare trips across Chicago without incident. But when he accepted a pickup at 2:47 a.m. outside an abandoned hospital and found a barefoot woman in a hospital gown in the rain, everything changed. She asked for an address that led to an empty lot. Then she vanished from his back seat while the car moved. His dash cam captured her face, matching a missing persons flyer from 2013. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Marcus Chen stared at his phone screen in the darkness of his Honda Accord. 2:15 a.m., Thursday night, almost Friday morning. He'd been driving for 9 hours and his lower back ached from the cheap seat cushion that had lost its padding months ago. The coffee in his cup holder had gone cold 3 hours earlier, but he'd keep drinking it anyway. Caffeine was caffeine. He pulled up his earnings for the week, $1,847, $53 short of his goal. One more ride would put him over. One more ride and he could go home to his apartment in Logan Square, crawl into bed next to Jenny, and sleep until noon. The Honda's interior smelled like the pine air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror and the faint ghost of a passenger's cologne from earlier. Marcus kept the car spotless. Vacuumed every Sunday, wiped down the seats. No trash, no stains. His 4.98 rating depended on details like that. 3 years of driving and he'd learned the system. Clean car, polite conversation, safe driving. The basics kept you employed. His dash cam blinked red in the corner of his windshield. He'd installed it last year after a passenger claimed he'd taken a longer route to jack up the fare. The complaint was bullshit, but it cost him a week of stress and a temporary account suspension. Never again. Now every ride got recorded. 2 cameras, one facing forward, one facing the back seat. The truth in high definition, Marcus had been an IT specialist before the layoffs in 2021. Decent job, health insurance, a retirement account he'd actually contributed to. Then the company restructured and his entire department vanished in a single morning meeting. He'd spent 6 months sending out resumes before accepting reality. Nobody was hiring 42-year-old network administrators when they could get kids fresh out of college for half the salary. So he drove. Started part-time, then full-time when the unemployment ran out. Now it was just what he did. 70 hours a week, Thursday through Monday, nights paid better, fewer cars on the road, drunks tipped well if you got them home safe. His phone pinged. New ride request. He glanced at the screen. Pickup location, Cook County Memorial East entrance. Passenger rating, 4.9 stars. Estimated fare, $18.50. Marcus hesitated. Hospital pickups at 3 a.m. were unpredictable. Sometimes you got an exhausted nurse finishing a shift. Sometimes you got a family member who'd been crying for hours. Sometimes you got a drunk who'd come to the ER and decided to leave before being treated. You never really knew. But the location caught his attention. Cook County Memorial East entrance. That was the old building, the one they'd closed 5 years ago when the new facility opened 2 miles west. He'd driven past it 100 times. Chain link fence, no trespassing signs, dark windows. Marcus frowned at his phone. The app showed the pin clearly. East entrance of the old building. Probably a GPS error. Passenger probably meant the new hospital. $1,850 would put him at $1,865. Over goal. Done for the night. He accepted the ride and pulled away from the curb. Rain started as Marcus turned onto Harrison Street. Light at first, then heavier. His wipers struggled to keep up. The streets were empty at this hour. Just streetlights reflecting off wet pavement and the occasional traffic signal changing colors for nobody. He drove west toward the old hospital. The new Cook County Memorial sat 2 miles north. Gleaming glass and steel, state-of-the-art emergency department. But the old building had history. Built in 1963, served the west side for half a century before the city decided it was cheaper to build new than renovate. Marcus had never been inside. Never had a reason to. But he'd picked up plenty of nurses and doctors from the new location. They all said the same thing about the old building. Good riddance. Outdated equipment. Asbestos in the walls. Plumbing that barely worked. The place had been dying for years before they finally pulled the plug. The old hospital came into view, 7 stories of dark brick and darker windows. Chain-link fence surrounded the entire property. Marcus slowed his Honda and circled the block. His app showed the passenger right here, east entrance, but the entrance was behind the fence, locked, abandoned. He circled again. Nothing. No one waiting on the sidewalk. No one waving him down. Marcus pulled to the curb and called through the rideshare app. The phone rang 4 times. No answer. He tried again. Same result. Then he saw her, a woman standing outside the fence in the rain, maybe 30 yards from his car. She wore what looked like a hospital gown, light blue, thin fabric already soaked through. No coat, no umbrella. Her feet were bare against the wet concrete. Marcus rolled down his window. "Hey, are you Rachel? I'm your driver." The woman turned. She looked young, late 20s maybe. Dark hair plastered to her face from the rain. She stared at him for 3 seconds without moving. Then she walked toward his car. She moved strangely, not hurried despite the downpour, not cold despite being soaked, just steady, deliberate, like she was walking through sunny weather instead of a storm. Marcus unlocked the doors. The woman opened the back door and slid inside. Water dripped from her hair onto his seat. She sat perfectly still, hands in her lap, eyes forward. "Rough night?" Marcus asked. He glanced in his rearview mirror. Her face was pale, expressionless. "You need me to take you to the new hospital. It's just a couple miles north." She didn't respond. Marcus tried again. "You okay? You're soaking wet. I've got a towel in the trunk if you need." 1247 West Harrison. Her voice was flat, emotionless. "The old ambulance bay." Marcus entered the address into his app. 0.8 miles. Strange to call a rideshare for less than a mile. He could have walked it in 15 minutes, but maybe she was injured. Maybe she'd just been discharged and couldn't walk. "Got it," Marcus said. 1247 West Harrison. Be there in a couple minutes." He pulled away from the curb. The woman sat motionless in his back seat, not checking her phone, not looking out the window, just staring straight ahead at nothing. Marcus's Dashcam blinked red, recording everything. Marcus drove west on Harrison. The rain hammered his windshield. His passenger hadn't moved since getting in, hadn't spoken except to give the address. Something about her absolute stillness made his skin crawl. He tried small talk again. "Long night at the hospital?" "Nothing." "You live around here?" Silence. Marcus glanced in his rearview mirror. The woman stared forward. Her hospital gown dripped water onto his back seat, but she didn't shiver, didn't wrap her arms around herself, didn't react to the cold at all. He focused on driving. Sometimes passengers didn't want to talk. That was fine. He'd drop her off, collect his $18.50, go home. The address appeared on his left, 1247 West Harrison Street. Marcus slowed the Honda. His headlights swept across an empty lot, just gravel and weeds behind a construction fence. No building, no house, nothing but bare ground stretching back 50 feet to an alley. He checked his phone. The GPS pin sat directly on the empty lot. "This is it," Marcus said. 1247 West Harrison, but there's no building here. Are you sure this is the right address? No response. Marcus turned in his seat to look at his passenger directly. The back seat was empty. He blinked, stared. The seat was completely dry where the woman had been sitting. No water, no damp fabric, nothing. "What the hell?" Marcus threw the car into park and got out. Rain soaked him immediately. He checked the back door. Still locked. He hadn't heard it open. The dash cam would have recorded the sound. He circled his Honda. Both back doors locked. Both front doors locked. The street was empty, no one anywhere. The construction fence around the lot was intact, chain link with a padlock on the gate. No way anyone could have gotten inside. Marcus pulled out his phone and checked the rideshare app. The ride showed completed. Fare. $18.50. Already processed. Already added to his weekly total. But when had she gotten out? He hadn't stopped. Hadn't heard the door. Hadn't seen anything in his mirrors. He stood in the rain staring at his empty car. His hands shook. This didn't make sense. She was right there, soaking wet, dripping water all over his back seat. Marcus opened the back door and touched the seat, completely dry. He ran his hand across the fabric, not even damp, like no one had sat there at all. He looked at the empty lot, at the locked fence, at the dark street. His phone buzzed. Text from Jenny. "You still working? It's almost 3. Marcus didn't respond. He got back in his car and pulled up the passenger's profile. Rachel S. member since 2013. 4.9 star rating, no photo, just the default avatar the app generated. He sat there for 5 minutes, engine running, wipers going, trying to understand what had just happened. Finally, he put the car in drive and headed home. His weekly total showed $1,865. The ride was there, the fare was there, but the passenger was gone, and the back seat where a soaking wet woman had sat was bone dry. Marcus pulled into his parking spot behind his apartment building at 3:20 a.m. The rain had stopped. His hands still shook on the steering wheel. He sat there in the dark trying to rationalize what had happened. Camera malfunction. Had to be. Some glitch that made him see someone who wasn't there. Except he'd talked to her, heard her voice, watched her get into his car. Jenny was asleep when he walked in. Their one-bedroom apartment was dark except for the bathroom nightlight. Marcus set his keys on the kitchen counter as quietly as possible. Kicked off his shoes, but he didn't go to bed. He pulled his laptop from the closet and set it up at the kitchen table. His hands fumbled with the SD card from his Dashcam. Took 3 tries to get it into the card reader. The coffee maker gurgled as it started brewing. He'd need it. The Dashcam software opened. 2 video files from the last ride. Front camera and rear camera. Timestamps showed 2:42 a.m. to 2:51 a.m. 9 minutes total. Marcus started with the rear camera, the one facing his back seat. The video began with an empty seat, rain visible through the windows. Then at 2:43:17, the back door opened. The woman got in, hospital gown soaked through, dark hair dripping. She pulled the door closed and sat perfectly still. Marcus could see himself in the driver's seat, could hear his own voice. "Rough night. You need me to take you to the new hospital." No response from the woman, his voice again. "You okay? You're soaking wet." Then her voice, flat, emotionless. 1247 West Harrison, the old ambulance bay. Marcus paused the video. There she was, clear as day. He could see her face in the interior camera. Young woman, maybe 28 or 30, pale skin, eyes that didn't blink enough. The hospital gown clung to her from the rain. He took a screenshot, saved it to his desktop. The video continued. He watched himself drive, watched the woman sit motionless in the back seat. She never looked at her phone, never checked the window, just stared forward like she was watching something Marcus couldn't see. 2:47:04. The car stopped. Marcus watched himself turn around in the driver's seat. The back seat was empty. He rewound 10 seconds. The woman was there. He fast-forwarded, empty. He went frame by frame. Frame 312 showed the woman sitting in his back seat. Frame 313 showed an empty seat. Between frames, no door opening, no blur of movement, just there and then gone. Marcus ran the clip 5 times. Same result. Impossible. Cameras didn't lie. Physics didn't work like that. People didn't vanish between frames of video, but she had. He opened a new browser tab and typed 1247 West Harrison, Chicago. The search results loaded. Cook County Memorial Hospital old building. Ambulance bay. Demolished 2018. Site cleared for redevelopment that never happened. The lot where he dropped her. That's where the ambulance bay used to be. Marcus stared at the screenshot of her face. Something about it nagged at him. He'd seen her before. Not in person, but somewhere. He ran a reverse image search. Nothing came up. He tried searching Cook County Memorial missing person hospital gown. 3,000 results. Too many to sort through at 3:30 a.m. His coffee sat cooling on the table. Marcus couldn't drink it. His stomach twisted. He kept replaying the moment in his mind. The woman vanishing. The dry seat. Her voice saying that address. The old ambulance bay. Marcus couldn't let it go. He opened Reddit on his laptop and navigated to the Chicago subreddit, created a new post. His fingers hesitated over the keyboard. This would sound insane, but the video didn't lie. He uploaded the screenshot of the woman's face, wrote a title, "Rideshare passenger vanished from my car. Anyone recognize this face?" The post went live at 3:47 a.m. Marcus typed out what happened. Woman in hospital gown, pickup at abandoned hospital, drop off at empty lot, disappeared between video frames. He kept it factual, no speculation, just what the camera showed. He hit submit and closed the laptop. His eyes burned. He needed sleep. But when he lay down next to Jenny, his mind wouldn't stop. The woman's face, her flat voice, the impossible vanishing. Marcus woke to his phone buzzing at 6:30 a.m. 47 notifications from Reddit. He grabbed the phone and opened the app. His post had exploded. 300 upvotes. Still climbing. Comments flooding in faster than he could read them. Most were theories. Camera glitch. Elaborate prank. Drunk passenger who got out while he wasn't looking. The usual Reddit skepticism. But one comment stopped him cold. User Chicago History Buff had posted 12 minutes ago. OP, I've seen this face before. Missing persons flyer from 2013. Woman named Rachel Curry. Disappeared from Cook County Memorial Psych Ward. Let me find the link. Marcus sat up. Jenny stirred beside him but didn't wake. He scrolled down. Chicago History. Buff had posted again a link to the Illinois Missing Persons database. Marcus clicked it. The page loaded. Rachel Marie Curry, age 28. Last seen October 18, 2013. Cook County Memorial Hospital Psychiatric Unit. Patient walked out of facility approximately 2 a.m. Never seen again. Case status. Cold. The photo was grainy. A scan of an old flyer. But it was her. Same face. Same dark hair. 10 years younger but unmistakable. Marcus checked the date on his phone. October 19th, 2023. 10 years to the day. He got out of bed and went back to his laptop. Opened the missing persons page on the big screen. Read every detail. Rachel had been a patient in the psych ward. Voluntarily committed according to the report. No history of violence. No criminal record. Just walked out during a shift change and vanished. Police had searched for weeks. Found nothing. Her family offered a reward. $5,000 for information. But a decade had passed. The trail was frozen solid. Marcus read the comments on his Reddit post. More people were finding the connection. Chicago History. Buff had posted the missing persons link 3 more times. Others were sharing stories. Similar experiences near the old hospital. Strange passengers, unexplained rides. One user claimed he'd picked up the same woman 3 years ago. Same hospital gown. Same address. Same vanishing act. But he'd deleted his footage thinking he was losing his mind. Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Is this Marcus Chen?" A woman's voice. Professional. Careful. "Yeah, who's this?" "Detective Sarah Brennan, Chicago Police 12th District. I saw your Reddit post, the video of Rachel Curry. I need you to come down to the station. We need to talk about what your camera recorded." Marcus arrived at the 12th District Station at 9:15 a.m. He'd showered and changed but couldn't eat. His stomach was twisted in knots. Jenny had asked questions he couldn't answer. He'd just told her he needed to talk to police about a passenger complaint. The station smelled like burnt coffee and floor cleaner. A desk sergeant directed him to the second floor. Detective Brennan met him at the top of the stairs. Mid-40s, sharp eyes. She wore a blazer over jeans and moved like someone who'd worked too many consecutive shifts. "Mr. Chen, thanks for coming in." She shook his hand. Her grip was firm. "This way." She led him to a small interview room. Gray walls, metal table, 2 chairs. Marcus's laptop sat on the table along with a thick manila folder. "You brought your laptop?" Brennan asked. "You said you wanted to see the footage. Original files are on here." "Good. I need to watch it. Reddit compression makes things hard to analyze." She sat down and gestured for Marcus to do the same. "But first I need to know. You're certain this happened last night, October 19th. 2:47 a.m. Timestamp is on the video." Brennan opened the manila folder. Inside were old police reports, crime scene photos, and a missing persons flyer with Rachel Corey's face. "I was a rookie when Rachel disappeared," Brennan said. "October 18th, 2013. We searched for weeks, checked every hospital, every shelter, every morgue in 3 counties. Found nothing." "What happened to her?" "She was a patient in the psychiatric unit, involuntary commitment. Her employer had her admitted after she started making accusations about hospital practices." Brennan pulled out a page. According to the commitment order, she was suffering from paranoid delusions, claiming the hospital was killing patients, covering up deaths. Was she dangerous? No. She'd been there 7 days when she walked out during a shift change. Security footage from 2013 shows her leaving through the front entrance. 2:08 a.m. She turned the corner heading south toward the old building. That's the last anyone saw of her. Marcus opened his laptop and pulled up the Dashcam footage. Brennan watched it 3 times without speaking. Her face remained neutral, but Marcus saw her grip tighten on the edge of the table. "That's Rachel Corey," Brennan said quietly. "Age 10 years, but that's definitely her." "How is that possible?" "I don't know, but I know what I'm looking at." She rewound to the moment Rachel vanished, frame by frame. There, one frame she's in your car, next frame she's gone. No blur, no motion, just gone. Camera malfunction. You know it's not. Brennan closed the laptop. "Rachel asked you to take her to 1247 West Harrison, the old ambulance bay. There's nothing there, just an empty lot." There wasn't always nothing. Before demolition, the ambulance bay had a basement level. Storage, old records, equipment. When they tore down the building in 2018, they filled in most of it, but city records show some underground spaces were left intact. Why would Rachel want to go there? That's what I need to find out. Brennan stood. "I'm reopening her case. Your video gives me probable cause, but I need your help. I need the original files. Everything your dash cam recorded." Marcus pulled the SD card from his laptop and handed it over. "What do you think happened to her?" "I think she's been trying to tell someone for 10 years. And last night she finally found a driver with a camera that wouldn't let people pretend she didn't exist." This story takes time to craft. If you're enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Brennan called Marcus the next afternoon. He was sitting in his apartment trying to work but couldn't focus. Jenny had gone to her shift at the restaurant. The apartment felt too quiet. "I got authorization to unseal Rachel's psychiatric records," Brennan said. Her voice was tight. "Marcus, you need to hear this. Can you come back to the station?" Marcus drove to the 12th district, found Brennan in the same interview room. She looked like she hadn't slept. 3 thick files sat on the table. Hospital records, police reports, a laptop showing old security footage. Rachel Corey wasn't delusional, Brennan said without preamble. She was right. Right about what? She worked medical billing at Cook County Memorial. October 2013, she discovered irregularities in patient records. Deaths that didn't match autopsy reports. Patients being transferred to closed wings. Records being altered. Brennan opened one of the files, showed Marcus photocopied billing documents. Rachel documented everything, tried to report it to hospital administration. 3 days later, her supervisor filed paperwork to have her involuntarily committed. Claimed she was having a psychotic break. They committed her to shut her up. Look at the psychiatrist's evaluation. Brennan slid a page across. Dr. James Patterson, he diagnosed her after a 30-minute interview. Prescribed heavy sedatives. Recommended indefinite commitment. Marcus read the evaluation. Patient exhibits severe paranoid ideation. Claims hospital staff are involved in criminal conspiracy. Refuses to acknowledge delusions. 3 other patients disappeared from that psych ward in October 2013, Brennan said, all within 2 weeks. She laid out 3 missing persons reports. Sandra Chen, Melissa Rodriguez, Jennifer Williams. All 3 had been patients in the psychiatric unit. All 3 walked out and were never seen again. Police investigated. Barely. All ruled voluntary departures. Cases went cold within weeks. Brennan's jaw tightened. But I pulled their admission records. Sandra Chen worked in hospital administration. Melissa Rodriguez was a surgical nurse. Jennifer Williams was a county health inspector. They all worked in positions where they might have seen something. Exactly. And all three were committed around the same time Rachel started asking questions. Brennan opened her laptop, pulled up security footage. Timestamp showed October 15th, 2013, 3:17 a.m., black van backing up to the ambulance bay, two men in scrubs unloading something on a gurney covered with a sheet. What is that? I don't know, but it's not normal hospital procedure. Not at 3 a.m. in a closed section. Brennan closed the laptop. Rachel disappeared October 18th. 3 days after this footage was recorded, she walked out of the psych ward and headed straight for the old building, for the ambulance bay. You think she knew something was there? I think she was gathering evidence, and I think someone realized she was getting too close. Brennan assembled a team by noon the next day. Ground-penetrating radar specialists, forensics, 2 uniformed officers. Marcus stood with them at the empty lot on West Harrison Street, the address Rachel had given him. The lot was bigger than Marcus remembered. Gravel and weeds stretched back 60 feet. Chain-link fence surrounded it. A faded sign read, "Future site of Harrison Plaza, coming 2019." City records show the basement level was partially filled when they demolished, Brennan said. She held architectural drawings. But there's a gap here. Underground storage area. They sealed the access points but left the space intact. The radar team set up their equipment, started at the street and worked back in a grid pattern. Marcus watched from beside Brennan's car. His phone kept buzzing. Reddit notifications. His post had gone viral. 2 million views. News outlets were picking it up. One of the radar techs called out, "Detective, you need to see this." The tech pointed at his screen. It showed an underground cross-section. Blue for empty space, red for solid material, yellow for something in between. There's a void down there, 10 feet below surface, roughly 12 by 15 feet. Can you see what's in it? The tech adjusted settings. 4 distinct yellow masses appeared, roughly human-sized. Density suggests organic material. Could be debris, could be something else. How many? 4 distinct signatures. Marcus felt his stomach drop. 4 bodies, 4 missing women. "We need to excavate," Brennan said. She pulled out her phone. "Yeah, it's Brennan. I need an emergency excavation warrant. Possible human remains, multiple victims." The warrant came through in 2 hours. A backhoe arrived at 4 p.m. Marcus stayed. He couldn't leave. The backhoe operator worked carefully. Removed gravel, then dirt, going down slowly. Then the bucket hit concrete, old foundation. Workers cleared the area by hand, exposing a section of floor and a gap in the concrete, an opening 3 feet wide, leading down into darkness. Brennan got on her radio. "I need forensics down here, and lights." The forensics team set up portable floods, aimed them into the opening. Marcus could see old concrete stairs leading down. The smell coming up was wrong, damp and rotten. "Mr. Chen, you should go home," Brennan said, but Marcus shook his head. "She got in my car for a reason. I need to see it." Brennan studied his face, then nodded. "Stay close. Don't touch anything." They descended into the basement, flashlights cutting through darkness. The space opened up into what used to be the ambulance bay storage area. Old shelving units, rusted equipment, and in the northwest corner, partially covered by a tarp, they found the first body. The forensics photographer moved in, camera flashing. Marcus stayed back with Brennan. The smell was overwhelming. A forensic tech lifted the tarp carefully. Skeletal remains, hospital gown still partially intact. Female, been here years based on decomposition. They found the second body 20 feet away. Same condition, same hospital gown, near an old drainage pipe. The third body was behind a collapsed shelf unit, better preserved. The tech could see remnants of dark hair, a hospital ID bracelet still on the wrist. "I need someone to check this bracelet," the tech called out. Brennan photographed it, zoomed in. Melissa Rodriguez, admitted October 9th, 2013. "You're one of the missing women." "Where's the fourth?" Brennan asked. The radar had shown 4 signatures. They searched the basement. Marcus noticed something. A drainage tunnel in the far corner. Old storm drain. Large enough for a person to crawl through. The grate was bent, forced open from inside. "Detective, over here." Brennan studied the drain. "Someone opened this recently. Look at the rust pattern." They shined lights into the tunnel. It extended into darkness, connecting to the city's underground utility corridors. Next to the drain, Marcus saw something else. Scratched into the concrete wall. Fresh marks. Words carved with something sharp. "They're killing patients. Billing fraud. Check basement records. RK-OC 2013. Rachel's initials. Her message. Left 10 years ago. Below it, an arrow, pointing into the drainage tunnel. "She escaped," Marcus said. "She was down here. She saw what happened to the others, and she got away through that tunnel." Brennan called for a map of the underground utility system. The drainage tunnel connected to a network beneath the hospital. Multiple exit points, but they still hadn't found the 4th body. The radar showed 4 signatures. They'd found 3. Brennan's radio crackled. "Detective, we found something else. Near the tunnel entrance." A tech knelt by the drain opening, pointed at a pile of items pushed into a corner. Protected in plastic bags. Old, deteriorated, but deliberately placed. Hospital documents, billing records, patient files, autopsy reports. All from October 2013. "Rachel gathered evidence," Brennan said quietly. "She was down here collecting proof before she ran." The tech opened one of the bags carefully. Inside were dozens of pages. Patient deaths marked as natural. Organs harvested without consent. Bodies disposed of illegally. Billing records showing fraudulent charges. And signatures on the authorization forms. 3 names repeated. Dr. Richard Kellerman, Chief of Medicine. Susan Marquez, Hospital Operations Director. Dr. James Patterson, Staff Psychiatrist. The same psychiatrist who'd committed Rachel, who diagnosed her as delusional. "They were running an organ trafficking operation," Marcus said, "using psych patients." Brennan nodded grimly. "And Rachel found out, so they tried to make her disappear too." Marcus stared at the names on the documents. His hands shook holding the flashlight. These people are still out there, still working. Brennan pulled out her phone, started taking photos of every page. "Kellerman retired in 2015, but he's on the hospital board. Marquez works for the Illinois Department of Public Health now, oversight position. And Patterson, still practicing, different hospital, still has admitting privileges for psychiatric patients." The implications hit Marcus hard. They'd killed 3 women, tried to kill Rachel, and then just went back to their lives. Promotions, retirements, normal careers, while 3 bodies rotted in a basement and Rachel spent 10 years hiding in tunnels. A forensic tech called from deeper in the basement. "Detective, there's more documents over here. File boxes, dozens of them." They found the boxes stacked against the far wall, covered in plastic tarps, protected from water damage. Rachel had done this, had spent time down here in the darkness, organizing evidence, building a case, waiting for someone to find it. Brennan opened the first box. Patient records going back to 2012. Highlighted sections showing the pattern. Psychiatric commitments. Transfers to closed wings. Deaths ruled natural. Organs harvested. Bodies that disappeared. "How many victims?" Marcus asked. Brennan flipped through files. Her face went pale. "At least 20. Maybe more. Spread over 18 months. 20 people. 20 families who never got answers. 20 cases closed as suicides or runaways or natural deaths." Marcus got home at 11:30 p.m. The apartment was dark. Jenny sat on the couch waiting. Her arms were crossed. "You've been gone for 12 hours, she said. "You didn't answer my calls. I had no idea if you were okay." Marcus set his keys down. His clothes smelled like basement rot. "I'm sorry, they found bodies." "Bodies? Marcus, what are you involved in?" He told her everything. The passenger. Rachel Curry missing for 10 years. The basement. 3 murdered women. Evidence of organ trafficking. Jenny listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet. "This is dangerous," she finally said. These people killed to protect their secret. Your name is all over the internet. They know who you are. The police are handling it. Brennan's building a case. His phone rang. Unknown number. Marcus answered. Silence on the other end, just breathing. Then a woman's voice. Flat, emotionless. Marcus, you need to leave Chicago tonight. Rachel, is this Rachel Corey? They know you have the footage. They know you talked to Detective Brennan. You're in danger. Where are you? Are you safe? I've been hiding for 10 years. They killed the others, but I got away. I've been waiting for someone to find the evidence. The Dashcam footage, you chose my car specifically. I've been watching drivers near the old hospital for years, waiting for someone who had cameras. You were perfect. Come forward, talk to Brennan. I tried. They have people in the system. Marcus, they're coming for you tonight. Take your girlfriend and leave, right now. The call ended. A car pulled up outside. Marcus went to the window. Black SUV, tinted windows. 3 men getting out. Marcus grabbed Jenny's hand. Back door, now. They ran through the kitchen. Marcus grabbed his car keys. The pounding started on the front door. Marcus, Chen, open up. We need to talk. They ran down the back stairs, burst through to the alley, sprinted to Marcus's Honda. Behind them, the front door was forced open. Heavy footsteps on stairs. Marcus unlocked his car. They jumped in. He started the engine and pulled out as the men reached the back door. The black SUV appeared 2 blocks back. Following. Marcus's phone rang. Brennan. Marcus, where are you? Being chased. Black SUV. 3 men. They broke into my apartment. Stay on main streets. I'm sending units. What's your location? Heading west on North Avenue, just past Dahmen. Keep driving. Officers are 2 minutes out. The SUV was closing. Marcus accelerated through a yellow light. The SUV ran the red behind him. Marcus took a hard right onto Western Avenue. His tires squealed. The SUV followed. They were 50 feet back now. 40. Marcus knew these streets. 3 years of rideshare taught him every shortcut. He took a left on Division. The SUV stayed with him. It pulled alongside, trying to force him toward the curb. The passenger window rolled down. A man leaned out. Marcus, gun! Jenny screamed. Marcus hit the brakes hard. The SUV shot past. He jerked right into an alley. Too narrow for the SUV. His Honda barely fit between dumpsters. The alley opened onto Milwaukee Avenue. Marcus floored it. The SUV appeared 2 blocks back. Marcus, I've got 2 squad cars heading north on Milwaukee. Where are you? Just past Ashland. They see you. Lights coming. Marcus checked his mirror, saw the flashing lights. The SUV made a sudden right turn. Disappeared. The squad cars caught up. One pulled alongside. Gestured for him to follow. They led him to the 12th District Station. Into the secure garage. Brennan was waiting with 4 officers. You're both okay? Yeah, shaken but okay. You're staying here tonight. Protected custody. Who were those men? That's what I'm going to find out. Brennan led them inside, to a secure room. This is for witnesses in high-profile cases. You'll be safe here. Marcus sat down. They knew where I lived. Someone's watching you. I'm moving up the arrests. Tomorrow morning. We can't wait. What about Rachel? If she contacts you again, tell her to come in. Brennan stood. But right now, my priority is keeping you alive until I can get Kellerman, Marquez, and Patterson in custody. Jenny spoke up. How long do we stay here? 48 hours minimum, until we make the arrests. Make the arrests, Marcus said. Whatever you need from me. I'll testify. I'll do whatever it takes. Brennan nodded. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. She left. Marcus and Jenny sat in the secure room. The door locked from outside. Jenny leaned against him. I'm scared. Me too. Do you regret it? Accepting that ride? Marcus thought about Rachel. 10 years of hiding, 3 women dead, a conspiracy that could have stayed buried if he hadn't had a dash cam. No, he said. I don't regret it. Marcus couldn't sleep. Jenny dozed on the couch. His phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Text from unknown number. They're moving the evidence tonight. Warehouse on South Cicero. You need to tell Brennan. Marcus stared at the message. Rachel. He texted back. Who's moving it? Hospital records. Proof of all the victims. They're destroying everything before arrests. Marcus went to the door, knocked. An officer opened it. I need Detective Brennan. Right now, it's urgent. Brennan arrived 5 minutes later. Marcus showed her the text. Rachel says they're destroying evidence. Tonight. Warehouse on South Cicero. Another text came through. 4721 South Cicero Avenue. Back entrance. Black vans. 3 men loading boxes. Brennan got on her radio. I need units at 4721 South Cicero. Possible evidence tampering. Silent approach. She looked at Marcus. You're staying here. Rachel's feeding me information. If she texts again, you'll need to know. Keep your phone on, but you don't leave this room. She left. Marcus sat with his phone, waiting. 20 minutes passed, then a text from Brennan. We're here. Moving in now. Marcus paced. Jenny woke up. What's happening? Police are raiding a warehouse. Another text from Rachel. Tell Brennan to check the basement. That's where they keep the originals. Marcus forwarded it immediately. 10 minutes of silence. Then his phone rang. Brennan. We got them. All 3. Kellerman, Marquez, Patterson. They were here personally. Her voice had triumph in it. Rachel was right. Basement full of records. Original documents dating back to 2011. They're in custody, cuffed and heading to lockup. Federal charges, conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, racketeering. They're done. Marcus felt his legs go weak. It's over. The immediate threat is over. They're behind bars, can't make bail. You and Jenny are safe. Marcus typed a message to Rachel. They got them, all 3. You're safe now. Come in. You don't have to hide anymore. The 3 dots appeared, then a message. Not yet. There are others. People who helped them. I need to make sure they're all caught first. Rachel, it's over. You won. It's not over until everyone pays. I'll come in when I'm ready. Marcus stared at the message. 10 years of running. She couldn't just turn it off. Thank you, he typed, for choosing my car. Thank you for believing your camera, for being exactly who I needed you to be. No more messages came. The sun came up at 6 a.m. Marcus watched through the window. Jenny was still asleep. He dozed maybe an hour. Brennan knocked at 7. She looked better. Clean clothes. Bright eyes despite the all-nighter. They're talking, she said. Patterson broke first. Offered full cooperation. What did he say? Everything. Started in 2011. Kellerman identified vulnerable patients. Patterson would commit them on fabricated diagnoses. Marquez arranged transfers to closed wings, where they'd harvest organs. Marcus felt sick. How many? Patterson estimates 47 victims over 3 years. Bodies were disposed of through a crematorium Kellerman owned. Death certificates were falsified. 47 people. The records Rachel saved document 32. We're still counting. Brennan sat down. The organs went to private buyers, wealthy patients who didn't want to wait on transplant lists. Kellerman made approximately $2.3 million. Marquez got $800,000. Patterson received $50,000 per commitment. Jenny woke up, listened to Brennan explain the scope. What happens now? Jenny asked. Federal prosecutors are taking over. RICO territory. We're looking at life sentences for all 3. When can we go home? Marcus asked. This afternoon. We've secured your apartment, changed the locks, installing cameras. I want to testify, Marcus said, at trial. I want to tell the jury what happened. You'll get your chance. All 3 are pleading not guilty. They think they can beat this. They're wrong. Brennan pulled out her phone, showed them photos from the warehouse raid. Boxes stacked floor to ceiling, filing cabinets, computers. Rachel's records match everything Patterson's saying. She documented the entire operation without even realizing how big it was. The 3 men who came after us, Marcus asked. Private security contractors. Kellerman hired them to intimidate witnesses. We're charging them with attempted murder, breaking and entering, assault with a deadly weapon. They're cooperating too. Gave up details about other jobs Kellerman hired them for. Turns out you weren't the first person they were sent to silence. Who else? A journalist who was asking questions in 2014. They ran him off the road, made it look like an accident. He survived but dropped the story. And a former hospital administrator who noticed irregularities. They broke into her home, threatened her family. She resigned and moved out of state. Marcus felt cold. How many people knew and said nothing? More than we'd like. Fear is a powerful motivator. Kellerman had money, connections, a reputation. People convinced themselves it was safer to look the other way. Brennan stood. But not Rachel, and not you. That's why this case is closing. The trial started 4 months later, March 24, 2024. Federal courthouse in downtown Chicago. Marcus sat in the witness waiting room with Jenny. His hands were sweating. The case had exploded into national news. Ghost passenger case exposes decade of hospital murders. Marcus's dashcam footage played on every news channel. He'd stopped driving for rideshare apps. The attention made it impossible. He'd taken a job with a law firm instead. Investigator for whistleblower cases. A bailiff opened the door. "Mr. Chen, they're ready for you." Marcus stood. Jenny squeezed his hand. "You've got this." The courtroom was packed. Media in the gallery. Family members of victims. Marcus walked to the witness stand. Got sworn in. The prosecutor was a woman named Lisa Grant. Mid-50s. Sharp suit. "Mr. Chen, can you tell the jury what happened on October 19, 2023? Marcus took a breath. Started from the beginning. The late-night ride request. The abandoned hospital. The woman in the hospital gown. The address that led to an empty lot. And then what happened? She vanished, between one frame of dashcam video and the next. Grant played the video for the jury. The courtroom went silent. Watching Rachel Corey appear. Watching her disappear. What did you do next? I went home, reviewed the footage, took a screenshot, posted it to Reddit asking if anyone recognized her. And did someone? Yes, within hours. Someone linked to a missing persons case from 2013. Rachel Corey. Marcus testified for 90 minutes. Described the police investigation, the bodies found in the basement, the documents Rachel had saved. The defense attorney cross-examined him, tried to poke holes, suggested the video was manipulated. Marcus stayed calm, pointed to the dashcam timestamp, the GPS data. Everything was documented. Mr. Chen, isn't it true you've profited from this case? I haven't signed anything, haven't taken $1. I'm here because 3 women were murdered and nobody cared until a camera proved they existed. The defense attorney had no response. Marcus was excused. Other witnesses testified over following days. Detective Brennan, forensic experts, Dr. Patterson taking the stand in his prison jumpsuit, detailing every crime, every victim. The evidence was overwhelming. Documents, bodies, confessions, bank records showing $2.3 million flowing through Kellerman's accounts. On day 7, something happened that stopped the entire trial. A woman walked into the courtroom during lunch recess. Thin, worn, older than her years, but her face was unmistakable. Rachel Corey. The courtroom went silent. Rachel stood in the back near the doors. She wore clean clothes, jeans and a sweater, but her eyes held determination. Detective Brennan crossed the courtroom quickly. Rachel, you came. I'm ready to testify. Rachel's voice was steady, not flat anymore. Real. I'm ready to tell them everything. The judge called a recess. Prosecutors huddled with Rachel. After an hour, they emerged. Grant approached the judge. Your Honor, we have a surprise witness, Rachel Corey. She's prepared to testify. The defense objected, but the judge overruled them. Ms. Corey is listed on the witness roster. We'll proceed. Rachel took the stand, got sworn in. She looked directly at Kellerman, at Marquez, at Patterson. Ms. Corey, Grant began, can you tell the jury what you did at Cook County Memorial Hospital in 2013? I worked in medical billing. In September 2013, I noticed irregularities, deaths that didn't match billing codes, procedures being charged that never happened. What did you do? I documented everything, made copies, took them to my supervisor. She told me to drop it, but I kept digging. And then, October 11th, 2013, Dr. Kellerman called me into his office, said I was spreading false accusations. The next day, I was involuntarily committed to the psychiatric ward. Dr. Patterson diagnosed me with paranoid delusions after 30 minutes. Rachel described the ward, the heavy sedation, the other patients who'd also worked at the hospital, Sandra Chen, Melissa Rodriguez, Jennifer Williams. All asking questions, all committed within weeks. We talked when nurses weren't watching, shared what we'd found, realized we'd all discovered pieces of the same operation, organ trafficking, using psychiatric patients as donors. What happened to Sandra, Melissa, and Jennifer? Rachel's voice cracked. They disappeared, one by one. Nurses said they'd been transferred, but I knew what was really happening. How? I overheard Dr. Kellerman and Ms. Marquez talking. Late one night, they said Sandra had been processed, that they'd found a buyer for her organs, that the crematorium would handle the rest. The courtroom was silent. That's when I knew I had to run, or I'd be next. So on October 18th, I waited for shift change, walked out, headed for the old building. Why the old building? Because that's where they kept the records, the real records. I knew if I could get to the basement, I could find proof. And did you? Yes, I found documents, patient files, billing records, autopsy reports that had been altered. I spent 3 hours gathering everything, putting it in plastic bags. Then I heard them coming, so I hid in the drainage tunnel, waited until they left. Then I crawled through the underground system and I ran. Grant asked the obvious question. Ms. Curry, you've been missing for 10 years. Where have you been? Rachel took a breath. I lived in the tunnels at first. Chicago has miles of underground passages, old utility corridors, storm drains. I learned how to move through them. For how long? 6 months underground. Then I started coming up, but I couldn't stay in one place. They were looking for me. How did you survive? Day labor, cash jobs, cleaning offices at night, washing dishes. I slept in different places every night, shelters when I could. I kept moving, kept watching. Watching what? Them. Kellerman, Marquez, Patterson. I followed them, learned their routines. I broke into Kellerman's office twice, downloaded files. I was building a case even though I had no way to present it. Why didn't you go to police? I tried 3 times. First in 2014. I walked into a station, told them everything. They ran my name, saw I was a psychiatric patient who'd escaped. They called Cook County Memorial. Dr. Patterson showed up with commitment papers. I barely got away. What changed? Why come forward now? Rachel looked at Marcus. Because someone finally had proof I couldn't provide. Video evidence. Dashcam footage showing I existed. Marcus Chen gave me something I'd been searching for 10 years. A witness nobody could intimidate. Tell the jury about October 19th, 2023. I'd been watching Marcus for weeks. He drove rideshare near the old hospital. Had a dash cam. Good rating. So I staged the encounter. Wore a hospital gown. Stood in the rain. Got in his car and gave him the address. The old ambulance bay. And you vanished from his car. I know how to move unseen. Spent 10 years practicing. I waited until he turned around. Slipped out while he was distracted. But I knew his camera captured my face. Knew he'd review the footage. Why not just tell him? Because if I'd explained, he might have thought I was crazy. But an impossible mystery. A face that matched a missing person's case that he couldn't ignore. Grant nodded. Why testify now, after 10 years of hiding? Rachel looked at Kellerman, then at the jury. Because 3 women died and nobody cared. Because 47 people were murdered and it was covered up. Because I spent 10 years living like an animal, while these 3 lived normal lives. I'm done running. They took everything from me, but they didn't win. Because I'm here, and they're in chains. The courtroom erupted. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Came back with verdicts. Dr. Richard Kellerman, guilty on all counts. Susan Marquez, Guilty on all counts. Dr. James Patterson. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Kellerman got life without parole. Marquez got 45 years. Patterson got 15 for cooperation. Marcus sat in the gallery with Jenny, watched them led away in chains. Outside the courthouse, Marcus found Rachel standing alone, staring at the building. "You okay?" Marcus asked. Rachel turned, smiled. "I'm free. For the first time in 10 years, I'm actually free." "What will you do now?" "Live, get an apartment, a real job. Detective Brennan offered me a position, consultant for cold cases, using my experience to find other victims." "Will you take it?" "I think so. Turns out spending 10 years investigating makes you pretty good at it." Rachel looked at Marcus. "What about you?" "Working for a law firm, whistleblower cases, helping people who find things they're not supposed to find. Because of me. Because of you. You showed me that ordinary people can uncover extraordinary crimes." They stood quiet for a moment, two people connected by one impossible ride. "Thank you," Rachel said, "for having a dash cam, for posting to Reddit, for believing what you saw. Thank you for choosing my car." Rachel reached into her bag, pulled out an envelope, handed it to Marcus. "What's this?" "Open it later." She walked away, down the courthouse steps, into the Chicago afternoon, free, alive, no longer hiding. Marcus opened the envelope that evening. Inside was a handwritten note. "Marcus, the families of Sandra Chen, Melissa Rodriguez, and Jennifer Williams have been notified. Their bodies have been returned. They're getting proper burials. Because of you, because you believed a ghost passenger was real. Because you had a camera that couldn't lie. You gave 47 victims justice. Never doubt that what you did mattered. Rachel." If this story meant something to you, drop a comment and share it. It helps the next person find their way here.